Well, good morning and welcome to Real Raw Live Devo on Monday morning. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I hope you're having a great day already in anticipation of just feeling a day of love today. Know you are loved. I love you. I don't know you personally. Maybe I do. Maybe we've seen each other. I love you though. Hey, let's talk today about John 9. I wanted to share from this chapter with you. We've been doing this, we did this chapter last week in our Real Multiply group, and it was just very impactful to me. And I've just been studying in it ever since then. And I found it very, I don't know, I just find it very encouraging. And I just wanted to share it with you. And in the whole chapter 9 is about a blind man, a man born blind by birth, so he never saw. And he gets his sight from Jesus. So what happens is, as they come upon the man, Jesus and his disciples see him, and the disciples ask, they say, God, who sinned, this man or his parents, because he'd been blind since birth? And Jesus said, neither of these have sinned. It was so that the works of God should be revealed in him. And then Jesus goes on to say right after that, he says, I must work the works of him who sent me while it is still day. The night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. And that is just a wonderful compliment to what Jesus is about to do, because then Jesus calls the man and he gets up and he puts mud, spits on some mud, puts it on his eye, tells him to go wash in the pool. And after he washes and does what Jesus has said to do, the man is able to see. And so then the whole community is like, what? They're like, no, this can't be the same guy. This is just a guy that looks like him. But the guy says he can see. And so when they're asking him, they say, how are you able to do this? And he tells them what happens. And he says, a man named Jesus told me to do this. And now I can see. And so we walk through this chapter in chapter 9, and we start seeing all the different encounters and how this man is reacting to the questions people are just asking him about, why are you able to see? Of course, the Jewish leaders are all upset about this, because the Jewish leaders are thinking, hey, you did this on the Sabbath, and you're not supposed to do this on the Sabbath. So we're not really concerned about any kind of miracle. We're going to just say maybe the miracle didn't happen. We're worried about you breaking the law. That's what the Pharisees always went back to. But then, so we've got him, and they're asking him who did this. So now, first his reaction is a man named Jesus. And then he says, well, I believe it was a prophet. The prophet did it. And so they're saying, well, how is this able to happen? And he says, I love this part. He says, one thing I know, that though I was blind, now I see. And what a picture of salvation when it happens to us. That's what I was thinking about, because it's just that clear. It's like all of a sudden you can't see, and then now you see with crystal vision as God speaks to you and changes you. And so then he starts going into this dissertation with the Jewish leaders, which is really cool. I have to read this chapter, these verses to you. We're going to look at verses 31 through 33. It says, now we know that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, he hears him. Since the world began, it has been unheard of that anyone opened the eyes of one who was blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing. So this man that was blind that now sees is actually talking to the leaders of the Jewish community like they don't know stuff. He's smarter than they are. God has given him insight in this process that he's been through. And so now they're like, hey, you're going to try to teach us? So they say they're casting him out. And so here now the man has gone from, he said, a man named Jesus has given me this vision. Maybe he's a prophet. Then now he's saying surely he is of God, or he wouldn't be able to do these things. And so when he got cast out of the synagogue, what you're seeing in this man's life is, before he met Jesus, he sat outside the synagogue in the hopes that people would give him money to sustain his life, because he was blind and he couldn't do what he needed to do. And so now what he had trusted in has been completely taken away, because he's been cast out. He doesn't have any sort of support structure anymore to help him. So he's alone. He's alone. And so what is so cool is that Jesus saw him when he was blind and he was outside the temple. And now that he's been cast out of the temple, Jesus goes and finds him. And He and Jesus had this other encounter. I want to read this to you. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and when he had found him, he said to him, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" He answered and said, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" And Jesus said to him, "You have both seen him, and it is he who is talking with you." Then he said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshiped him. So you see this progression of this man's life just within, I don't know what the time span was. It might have been a day. And you see what Jesus is doing in him, that it ultimately leads to him believing in Jesus and worshiping him. And that's how it is for us when God opens our eyes and we see. And nobody can ever take that from you. And to me, that's the love of the Father, that he sends his Son to be the light of the world so that we don't have to live in darkness. So, anyway, I just hope you guys are encouraged by that. God is so good to us. He's so good in his word, and I pray that you are in his word daily, just letting him teach you. Let him open your eyes. Let him change your heart. At the end of that section, it goes on to where Jesus actually rebukes the leaders in a sense that he says, you're held accountable when you don't believe. You've had everything put before you. And so your sins are with you because of that. And but this man was made new. He was forgiven. He was washed. He was made clean, and he was worshiping Jesus. And so I pray today that you will enjoy the love of the Father and the light that Jesus brings in your life. I pray you have a good day. Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy it. Bye-bye.